My question has to do is how to know when to change careers. I graduated medical school almost 20 years ago, and I am very content and happy with my job. I've got a successful practice, I'm happily married, I travel, live a good lifestyle, I'm fairly joyful, and life is really good. But I have a passion for going to chef school and doing something different. I find a lot of joy and creativity in doing that, and my current career is not boring. It's maybe just a little stale or, maybe more routine, and I don't find I can be as creative in that environment as I possibly could be, and I hope you can help me with that.
Well, you've been hearing us say for a while that when joy is what you are always reaching for as your criteria, that you might make different choices than if you are trying to please others or taking a poll of what is the appropriate thing to do or what is the appropriate career. It's an interesting thing as we watch so many of you, the criteria that you use as you make your decisions is often the idea of doing something that is thrilling or something that makes you happy is often far down on the list. When you remember that you can have it all, that the universe will deliver to you whatever you want through whatever format you want, and that if you make joy your dominant intention, everything will fall into alignment, then you could easily move from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing. We are interested even in the idea that surrounds the word career, because what most humans mean by that is, I will, early on in my life, do a good job of sifting through the data, and I will select something that is so good that it has the potential of keeping me satisfied forevermore. And we say, that's asking a lot of an idea that you find early on. It's so much more natural that you would live some life and collect more data and launch some desires that would begin to formulate in vibrational escrow, and that as you come into alignment with who you are, you would gravitate toward the fulfillment of more and more of those ideas. And so it's quite a radical thing that you're talking about. You're not just talking about moving from the prestigious and well-paying career of medicine into a prestigious and well-paying career of chefing. It's not just the idea of moving from one way of earning to another. It's the idea of setting aside the whole idea of career. In other words, it's what a radical idea to please me. What a radical idea to let my life queue up for me the next idea of the way I will spend my time, and then follow my bliss into the creation of that. If we were standing in your physical shoes, feeling good would be our dominant intention. And so now we're going to go back to the precise question that you asked. How does one know when it's time to move on or change careers? And we say, and as you hear us even today, we've been talking about how you can stand right where you are and reach for better feeling thoughts and do a better job of coming into alignment with who you are. And there is the potential of extracting more and more and more and more of what is wanted from right where you stand. You don't have to move from relationship to relationship or from career to career. However, if we were standing in any of your physical shoes, we would not narrow the arena from which we are extracting our joyful experience. And therefore, we would really play down the idea of career, and we would really play up the idea of being a broad player in a broad world with so much potential there to surprise and delight you. In other words, we think that if we were in your physical experience, that the label that we would apply to ourselves rather than physician or chef or career person, the label that we would apply would be, I am a successful, joy-seeking and finding being, period. People say, what do you do? We would say, whatever appeals in the moment. If they say, no, I mean for a living, we would say, so did I. Whatever appeals in the moment. And they would say, but what about all that preparation and all that leading to, you're giving that up? No, I use that as the platform from which to launch into more joy. That's as good as it gets. Of course, you can discover that you can have some of all of it. In other words, very often we're visiting with people who want to be authors or musicians, and they think that they have to set everything that they're doing aside, so that they can then do that. And we say, you have much more flexibility in your schedules than most of you allow. In other words, you could have some of all of it if you wanted to, and you might find that some of all of it would be the most satisfying of all.
Sort of a parallel tract of less of one and more of the other in some sort of balance.
Until you are confident that everything that you want from this idea of what you call career is available through the new idea as well as the old idea. In other words, the potential for value, the potential for upliftment, the potential for financial remuneration, the potential is as great with one as it is with the other. And as long as you know that, you see. And this is an opportunity, and we've sort of played around with this all day already here today. This is an opportunity for you to really acknowledge that pleasing yourself is what is inspiring the behavior, not calculating what others think you should do. In other words, if you were to present this possible scenario to most people could not let go of the price you've paid already to get to where you are. Here is the best story that we can give you about this. There are two stories that tell the same story. A man had achieved great financial success and then lost it all suddenly. And he was complaining to us that he didn't have time to start over, that it had taken him years to amass his fortune and it had disappeared almost overnight. And now he did not have the time to start again and achieve again. And we said to him, the achievement of the physical trappings is such a minuscule part of this story. In all that you've lived through the knowing what you don't want and knowing what you do want, you have parlayed your vibration into a place, into a vibrational point of attraction, and that is your legacy, that is your inheritance, that is your bouncing off place, that is the place, that's your starting place, this vibration of success and satisfaction and achievement. A woman said to us, I've been an artist for some time. She lived on the East Coast of the United States, and she decided that if she went to the West Coast, she could perhaps get more business from Hollywood and movies. Really a wonderful artist. So she put herself in her car and drove out there, and before she got settled in, someone broke into her car and stole her portfolio. So she had nothing to show. She had years of accumulation of her talent that she was going to present as the basis of being good to be employed. And now it was gone. And she did not know how she could make them understand who she is as an artist. And we said, most of what was in that portfolio doesn't represent who you now are anyway. Who you now are is who you now are. Paint something and show it to somebody. In other words, it is within you. It is the vibrational becoming that matters, you see. And so you get to take all that you have achieved vibrationally with you, and it is your new starting place. And so it does not matter if you change career every year. You get to pick up right where you are and launch from there into the new. Once you understand that, once you understand it's about vibration and not about anything else. And so even if there is a small financial lag time in the interim, it will be brief because of the vibrational stance that you have achieved, you see.
Thank you. One side issue as well. When I was trying to figure out this question, someone suggested I should go see a psychic. And I thought to myself, is it possible to truly predict the future? Or if I went to someone who claimed to be a psychic, if they're not making it up, are they somehow tapping into my thought forms?
They are. That's exactly what they're doing.
Or do they have access to my vibrational escrow?
Sometimes they do that too. And depending upon how in alignment you are, the more in alignment you are with your own vibrational escrow, the easier it is for someone else to read it. The more scattered you are, the more they really have to be good at being able to tap into who you really are rather than who you're currently being. And some are able to do that. But in any case, when you talk about the probable future, the future is up for grabs. It's up for vibrational grabs. But there are vibrational tendencies. In other words, someone who's learned to read energy can feel the stability or lack of it of whoever it is that they're reading. And as they get a sense of that energy, they can often accurately foretell where it's going if nothing changes. Because everything that will at one time manifest is in your vibrational escrow. So the question is, but here's the thing really worth talking about on this subject of psychically foretelling something. You acknowledge that you are this source energy being and that physically focused, you are launching more rockets of desires, and we haven't talked about it with much emphasis in the days that we've been on this ship, but there is the non-physical vibrational focal point of view, and there is the physical vibrational focal point of view, and the whole point of a gathering like this is to get you to merge this physical vibrational focal point with the non-physical one so that you allow yourself to be all that life has caused you to become. So if you are someone who is deliberately reaching for good feeling thoughts and you've managed to consistently, chronically bring yourself into vibrational alignment with who you are, you're sending a very strong signal that is very easy for someone to read. So when you introduce another person as the psychic who is going to foretell your vibration, you got to wonder, are they tapped into who I really am, or are they tapped into who I am being here in my physical expression, who am I allowing myself to be? And there's another thing that we have not said before that we really want to get to here about that, is that so as I stand in my human form, I have the potential of being in alignment, one signal or not. I have the potential of being often scattered from who I am or seldom scattered from who I am. In other words, I'm tuned in usually or I'm not tuned in usually. So I'm offering a vibration that someone is reading. And so let's say that this psychic is really good at knowing who you really are and nails precisely what's in your vibrational escrow. But if you're someone who's rarely in vibrational alignment with your vibrational escrow, and you hold yourself apart from it, even though the psychic has accurately acknowledged the potential that is there for you, you still have to get up to speed with your own potential. In other words, so you get the sense of what we're talking about? And a lot of psychics aren't anywhere near what's in your vibrational escrow. They're tapped into where you are, you see. So a really helpful psychic would convince you that she knows what she's talking about. And then she would tap in to all that you've become. And in her knowing who you really are and what you've become, if you believe her, then she could be a catalyst to bring you into vibrational alignment with who you really are. And then you would say, this was a very good psychic. She foretold it the way I wanted it to be and was right.
Thank you, Abraham.